Hey, friend! I think it's that time of the week again! What time is that? Poetry project time! Yay! Good morning, friend Anya. It is Thursday, and do you know what that means? Can I just say, I am so impressed with the way that you played that violin last week. Like, wow. Girl, you are so talented. And I also love the poem. I didn't know that puns could be so hilarious. So that was really great. Thanks for that. This week you challenged me to find you a poem written in the last 2 years, which was a great challenge because I don't know of any poems written in the last 2 years. I do have favorite modern poets, but most of my favorite poems from them were published at least before our university days, which now feels like a million years ago. So I had to go and look. Modern poetry is kind of crazy. Like, I'm sure people have said that all throughout literary history, that every time a new period came along, people would be like, man, those romantics are so, like, out of nowhere, or like, Emerson, what's up with that dude? And all that kind of stuff. But man, there's some weird stuff going on these days. I feel like there's a lot of spaces between words and between stanzas in modern poetry. Like, a lot of it doesn't really make a lot of sense in terms of having a narrative or sticking to a structure the way that poetry has up until now. I don't know if that's a modernism thing or a postmodernism thing or whatever, but this week I found a poem for you by Henri Cole. Yeah, it's weird. French first name, anglicized last name, I don't know. But his poem was called Blizzard, and I picked it because some of the lines really speak to me. And when I was looking for something to read for you this week, that's something that happened more than once, is I'd find a poem with a really great title or with a couple of really great lines, but the rest of it didn't really speak to me that much. And this poem spoke to me more than any others, which is why I chose it. But I also don't really understand the last line, or like I keep trying to puzzle it out and not quite being able to. So if you figure it out, please let me know. And the poem is called Blizzard. As soon as I am doing nothing, I am not able to do anything, existing quietly behind lock and key, like a cobweb's mesh. It's 4 a.m. The voices of birds do not multiply into a force. The sun does not engross from the east. A small fly ponders the fingers on my right hand like fat worms. Somewhere in an empty room, a phone rings. On the street, a bare tree shadows a brownstone. Be precise about objects, but reticent about feelings, the master urged. I need everything within to be livelier. Infatuation, sadism, lust. I remember them, but the memory of feeling is not feeling. A parasite is not the meat it lived on. The reason I picked that poem was because of the first two lines, which I relate to a lot. As soon as I am doing nothing, I am not able to do anything. That's just how it feels so much of the time. But mostly because of the ending, like, little stanza, I need everything within to be livelier. And for me, that's not really infatuation, sadism, and lust, but I need everything within to be livelier is a sentiment that I think a lot of us can maybe relate to, or at least I certainly can. And then also the line, I remember them, but memory of feeling is not feeling. I'm like, it's so true! You're so onto something, Henri! And my challenge for you for next week is to find a poem from, we're going to kick it old school again, find a poem from the Romantic era. One of them romantics with their flowery words and their brilliant despair and all that good stuff. So go and find a way over the top romantic poem, or just a romantic poem, because they all seem to be pretty over the top. And I'm claiming my bonus points this week. At the end of August, I went to visit Raquella in Montreal, and I started a series of poems called Postmodern Poetry for Everyday Life. It was a series, they were called things like Postmodern Apple Crumble, and Postmodern Postmortem. I know, clever, right? And Postmodern Rose, and there were a bunch like that. So I have written a new one for you, which is called Postmodern Sonnet. And I will send it to you, hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next Thursday.